time. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 5 of the Microphone Insider Video Podcast. Today's guest coming to us from Asheville, North Carolina is voice actor, coach, author, and audio engineer Dan Friedman. Welcome to the Inside.
Hey.
Hey, we made it. We're back. Yeah. Quick tune going on there.
I like that intro.
Hey, listen, don't ever leave me alone with Terry again for a show. Okay? Jeez.
I'm sorry, baby. You know,
Don't do that to me.
I got you.
What are you
My
doing?
bad. Y'all miss me.
Oh my God. Welcome to the Inside. I am your host, one of your hosts, Jim Frank, and Rebecca Lee with us. Terry's on deck with us for a few shenanigans, obviously, and Mike made it by the skin of his teeth to give us a little tech talk. If you guys are looking for a laptop for your home studio that also doubles as a take on the run with you, he's got your hookup. So stay tuned for that coming up. Rebecca, how are you?
I am doing well. Better now.
Where were you
Happy to be
last
back.
time we
Not
had a
that
show?
was that Portugal? Was it my birthday?
Oh, yeah, it was your birthday, yeah.
It was my birthday. That's right, because it feels so long ago. Okay. I went to Portugal for my birthday, October 7th through the 13th. I was out there and hit the Azores.
That's not what, no. We're talking about Halloween. Halloween.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay. I was tricking and treating, baby. I was tricking and treating. That's all. That's
the trick
all.
was the treat.
Exactly.
Gotcha. All right,
Went
cool.
out to Cali, yeah.
Oh, nice. We have a lot going on today, so I kind of want to hit some buttons and do some things. I know you're not really privy to any of the information I'm about to say, and I do that on purpose because I really like your true reaction to things as opposed to having time to think about it. Because what fun is that when you have to think about
What fun is that? You're right.
No fun at all. All right, listen, speaking of no fun at all, and I'm going to put this on my upper screen so I'm looking up because I have to read some things. We're going to start off on a weird note. And there is someone that needs our help. Brandon Francis, he's a narrator, an audiobook narrator, lost his house to a wildfire November 6th, like last week.
Oof.
Not just him, but his wife, his newborn baby, and his grandmother, Tish, which they call her TT. So they don't have a house right now. There is a Kickstarter fund or a GoFundMe account, whatever that is going on. It is linked on our Facebook page if you search for it. But sometimes that's just not enough. Sometimes I feel, we have a vehicle here. When I got into radio, radio originally was for the people, by the people.
That's right.
And it's the way it should be. So I like doing things. I like being able to use this vehicle. So what we're doing, I spoke with a good friend of the show, Johnny Heller, audiobook legend.
Yeah.
And his wife, Joanna, who's so much better than Johnny. But anyhow, one does fiction, one does nonfiction. And what they're going to do is they've donated their time. We're going to put on a workshop on December the 10th. It's going to be $25, minimum donation of $25. You can donate as much as you want. We have sold tickets already. Somebody bought 4 tickets for $50. Somebody bought 2 tickets for $30 each. So anything at least $25. Whatever you can. And it's going to be one of those situations where there's going to be a lot of people, kind of like Gravy for the Brain, where you go in and then J. Michael says, first 5 people that type in lobster roll will read. So
that sounds about.
Yeah. So instead of doing it that way, because it's audiobook, a week before the show, I'm just going to spin the wheel. Terry will be here. Rebecca, if you're not off in some exotic land, maybe you can join us online. Who knows? We're going to spin the wheel and pick 4 people. And 4 people will read for Johnny and for Joanna and get direction, redirect, and read. And then there will be a Q&A, so people that are involved there can also ask questions, and there'll be a whole Q&A. And they're donating their time. So 100% of the proceeds will go to help these guys out. So
That's
on
wonderful.
it's on our Facebook page. Go to our website, and just as soon as you go to the website, themicrophoneinsider.com, you'll see it. There's a link. Click on it. Buy tickets. Listen, if you can't make it and you still want to donate,
That's right.
just buy a ticket. There's going to be a video
you go.
replay, so you can take
There
it
you go.
later. All right, cool. All right, so that's parts done. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, how about some good stuff?
Okay, what's up?
Let's talk good stuff.
Oh, Terry, I just heard your voice, dude.
This
From
is
the
God.
ether.
Are you hiding in my closet again, Terry? Damn it, honey, I told you. He's not Billy Topaz in real life. All right.
That's what you think.
Anyhow, we'll get to you guys soon. The Microphone Insider. Yes, we have our scholarship, which we did last year, earlier this year. We sent 2 people to Dallas. We're going to send 2 people to Atlanta as well, coming up in March.
Okay. Yes.
All right.
I
You
love
can
it.
fill out the application now. It's on our website, themicrophoneinsider.com. And you have until December 12th. Once the 12th gets here, that's it. We're going to pick 2 people, and they're going to go. Yes, Steve Ward. Yes, it is a scholarship. Thank you. And no, we're not taking lobster roll right now. You have to wait on this. Oh, he is just crazy. So go to our website and just get logged in there and get signed up. There's no obligation, no money, just give us your information, answer a few questions. It's not just done by financial need. It's not just done by, I really need to go. All levels of VEO are welcome to apply, because even though you may be a seasoned veteran like the one over here to my left, whatever, she still needs coaching. We all need coaching.
Lifelong, forever.
Exactly. Speaking of conferences and things, I'm going to bring the other guys in here for this.
Okay.
Here we go. What's up, guys? It's like the
What's
Brady
up?
Bunch. So we were all actually, one of these things is not like the other.
I just need to grow
Some
my
people-
beard. That's all. When I get my beard going, it's
That's
on.
really
and
what it
Nothing
is.
It had nothing to do with
It's
the
all
beard,
about-
honey. I'm sorry. Well, there's that, and also no penis. But other than that,
Well, that's what we had to really.
I'm sorry, my bad. So 3 of
I
us
can go
were at
get one.
MAVO this past weekend, and I tell you, it's a small little boutique conference, but it's so great to hang out with people, so great to make those connections with
go.
people. Terry, tell us a bit about your experience.
I had a fantastic time catching up with everyone, and the class that I went for was Andy Roth, and he is fantastic.
keep your notes
I don't
up
know
on
if
the
you've
ceiling?
Ever.
You're reading your note cards off the. Yeah.
Up here? Yeah. No, I had the greatest time, man. I always do. That's my
I gotta
hometown
attend.
conference, so that's my home stadium.
Yeah, and
I
while
always
we were
have a great
there,
time.
while we were there, it was your birthday a couple days beforehand.
Oh.
It was.
Yeah, and I gifted you something nice. Oh, that's not
You did. That was not it.
no,
It was a picture. It was a framed photo of Jim. Actually, I
Of
saw
Jim,
it. He's
actually,
lying.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
in many,
Oh, that's so cool.
let's
in
get
many
rid of this
ways,
picture
it
of
was.
Mavo. It's a
how
tough picture.
awesome that is.
It's a tough picture,
That
but
is so cool.
if you
Yeah.
can't see what that picture is beneath it, it's this poster that an audio drama that Terry and I are a part of called Topaz and Stillman. He's Topaz, I'm Stillman, and I got him for his birthday. I decided to make this poster for him,
That's really cool.
and in return, Terry decided to forget it at the hotel and just leave it there. So
Well, didn't know we were gonna go there.
That's a big fact.
Terry said he wanted to talk about the posters, so I was like, "Hey, be careful what you wish for." So
That's,
I
I deserve it. I deserve it.
So-
And also, Grace bought me a nice bottle of blackberry whiskey.
Okay.
Okay, I did drink a lot of that, so I guess we can call it.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, you did.
So Terry's $20 gift is now going to be $40 plus delivery. So that's okay. You're worth it, Terry. No worries. What else is going on here? Hold on a second. We got a couple of things happening. Oh, we can sing that song again if you want.
Uh-oh.
One of these things is not like the other. Is it
Penis.
Rebecca? Penis. There you go.
One of these dicks is not like the other, right? Is that?
Today's word is sponsored by P.
Oh, goodness.
This crappy audio
Yeah,
brought
good
to you
night,
by
y'all.
Snowball, because nothing sounds good on a snowball. Hold on. Rebecca's going to be a presenter at VO Atlanta this year. Is this your first time presenting?
I did co-present with Erica J one time. This will be my first time solo.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
So
It was phenomenal. I saw it.
and by the way, all the early bird tickets ends today or tomorrow. I think it's today.
People.
It's today.
Snatch
Yep.
them up, yo.
If
It's
you want to
today.
come and hang out, you better get them now.
Right, because Mike won a pass, even though,
I did.
yeah.
Via
And actually,
Let it
from our
go.
guest.
Let it
via
go.
via our guest tonight.
Yeah,
so.
I didn't even think about that. All right.
Yeah.
I want to tell him about all the cheating you guys done did.
I was
But,
going to say, we don't
100%.
get perks and kickbacks, y'all. I don't know what's
Listen,
happening with me
Listen,
not
you
here.
gotta be willing to do what it takes, Jim. That's all I'm saying.
I know. Take some poor people off the street and have them speak foreign languages for you. Whatever. Not only is Rebecca going to be there. What?
Hey, Mr.
Hey.
Briscoe.
Who's that guy?
Wow.
All dapper and stuff.
And it looks like Terry actually dressed for the
What?
color motif here because he kind of blends in perfectly.
Yeah.
Here. Damn. All right.
They chose
So,
it based on. They
Well
chose their
done.
thing based on my outfit. You know.
Mike, I'm looking for your graphic, dude.
I'm not going to be presenting anything other than Drunken Mess.
Oh, wait a
so
second.
that would be
There is one more though. What?
Who's that?
What?
Yeah.
Zam, the crew gonna be in there.
Yeah, so we're all going to be down there. And Mike's going there because he got a free ride. Not
and
a free
because
ride.
I'm a fan. I'm really, literally I'm actually Terry
So you're
Briscoe's
stalking.
assistant. So that is typically my role at conferences is fetching him liquor,
Yeah.
beating
Wiping
off
his
the
butt.
fans.
I know, shit like that. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So we're thinking, I'm thinking, we should do a live microphone insider from Atlanta.
That's gonna be great. I think
Maybe
why
like
not?
in a big hotel
Fantastic
room
idea.
and invite a bunch of people in and just jam the place packed and just drink and do all kinds of nefarious things and then deny it all the next day.
Could get gnarly.
Yeah,
in there.
I gotta interject for a second here because I'm feeling a kind of way. I'm looking over in the audience, and this is twice now that I have been really excluded. So Pat Kennedy comes to the front of the stage. Great to see Mike, Terry, and Jim. One person not here. And then we've got, both Jim and Terry being presenters when I am too. Y'all want to talk to me about something? You miss one session.
What's really going on?
What did
it's
I
actually,
do? Let's talk about it.
Go ahead, Mike.
TMI actually stands for the Machismo Insider. We don't,
And Julie's not just dissing you right now, okay? She's laying the smack down to Mike as well. So, about
Wait, what?
Terry and Mike. Because Terry does have
I get
a
it.
man purse. Hey, what's up, DF? What's going on, buddy? Glad to see you. Hope you. So you'll be down there. All right. Rebecca's. Yeah. Here you go.
There we go. That works.
See.
Okay. Thank you, Pat.
Yeah. Pat came up from behind
Pat is a sweetie.
and she covered my eyes
Yeah.
and did that. Who's this? And I'm like, I don't know. But and they said, well, who would be the person to come up behind you and cover your eyes? I said, oh my God, Scarlett Johansson. But
Better.
The
Better.
cops. I
Scarlet
don't know.
wishes.
yeah. As good
No worries,
as
Julie.
MAVO was,
Thank you, Samantha.
as good as MAVO was, there was some controversy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it, Jim. Let's talk about it.
Something that I need to talk about. I don't know how to word this without,
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but I feel all right. There was a conflict. There was a battle.
Man.
Dun, dun, dun.
It got tense.
My money's on JMC.
Well, we are going
Yeah,
lefty.
he's got that lobster claw, that you can't.
Yeah, it's
He
dangerous.
was
thing.
clamping
You ain't
down
gonna
pretty
beat
hard.
that.
too.
He got that crustacean clamp on you, and you're done.
There you go. There you go.
Steve Ward,
cute.
are you coming down to Atlanta, Steve?
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Thank you, Julie.
Nice. What did Julie say now? Yay.
Especially the
No,
caps.
no.
I am
Mike
not
is
a
not a
presenter.
presenter.
Oh,
We do not like to give false information out here at the
I
Microphone
am
Insider.
I am not.
the
I am
butler.
not excluded. I am just.
He will
I'm just
presenting
the
us
help.
with drinks throughout the weekend.
Yes.
Mike's
We'll
our
get him some tails.
Mike's not a
awesome.
patched-in member yet. He's just a hang around right now.
Yeah, I'm just glamour
Part of the he's part of the entourage. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
He's our eye
yes.
candy.
that is true. And there's a lot of candy here.
Oh God!
There's a lot of candy to be seen.
Not only is he good looking,
Oh,
He can
God.
sing.
Please, no, he can't.
His
Not
friends
that.
are his reason to bring food to you. Chef
Big finish, here it
Frisco
comes.
Power.
Why do you do this?
Bringing dinner to yours and mine.
I fucking hate you.
How can you not do that?
I love this so much.
Today's drink we have for you today, Vermont, Autumn in Vermont. And I created this drink myself. I was just like, hey, let's just try some stuff and see how it goes. And it was fantastic.
Or
All
were
right,
you
so what you
drunk?
need, oh man, whew, yeah, that'll get you there. What you need is some fresh maple syrup. You need one shot of orange liqueur. You need 2 shots of vodka. You need sage leaves. You need fresh rosemary. You need 1 lemon, where you need about 3/4 of that juice. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna muddle those leaves all together with the honey, with the maple syrup, right?
can you explain
then
what
you put-
muddling is for our viewers that may or
Muddling
may
is
not know
when
what
you
it
put
is?
something in mortar and pestle, and then you mash it together to release the
Mash,
flavor.
mash, mash.
Mash. Just
All right,
you
Captain
really want to
Vocabulary.
mash this in there. Yeah, so you want to muddle all that together, and then you put your lemon juice in there and mix it, okay? And then you pour everything into our favorite thing, which is a shaker. And you want to shake that for like a good solid minute. Make sure you get all of that nice, beautiful flavor. Make it nice and cold. Get it all nice and mixed. And then you strain it into a glass. Garnish it with one of those sprigs of rosemary and a lemon wheel. And it looks like that.
So fancy.
And you have to have the Jif peanut butter cup behind there too, just to make sure.
Gotta have that.
You have a shot of
Gotta.
peanut butter, yeah.
Absolutely.
That
Absolutely.
sounds delicious.
It is delightful.
Hey,
I like
I
to
have
look a little
question to
classy
ask.
when I get drunk.
Let's go back to this full screen for a second. So
He be classy.
I'm going to ask
I
the
put my
question.
pinky up.
I'm going to ask the question to all three, to all of us except for Terry, the 2 of you. Rebecca, what is your favorite thing
Like,
in the world?
Favorite?
One thing.
oh,
Holy
favorite thing.
crap.
everyone's gonna be mad
Choose
at me.
wisely.
Okay, one of your favorite
right.
things. One of your top.
Can it be like travel? I love travel.
Travel.
That's gonna be my segment.
Great.
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah. My cat, Charlie. I'll take
Charlie.
that for now. Yeah.
Terry. A shaker.
Steak.
A shaker, he says. You take our favorite thing. A shaker, he says.
Well,
I ain't say
that
who was
speaks
shaking
to-
it, though. You know.
That says a
right.
lot right there. That the
I want to get
shaker
to our
is-
guest, and we're already running a bit late. But Mike, we have to get to Mike on this because we're talking tech, and Mike has found a pretty good deal for a computer that not only would work on the road for you, but also in your booth. And it's quiet.
Yes.
So, Mike, let us know what's up.
So everybody knows that Macs are generally looked pretty well for doing VO, and what we found is that with the introduction of the M4 processors that are, I believe, should be delivering soon, they've started cutting back on all of the other older laptops that they have out in the world. One thing that's happened is that all of the old 8 gigabyte of RAM MacBooks and MacBook Airs are basically gone. They stopped selling them. However, they have a glut in the supply of the M2 MacBook Air with 16 gigs of RAM. That is a totally fine machine, and it's down to $750 after a coupon code that is on Amazon right now. So if you're looking for a computer that, and specifically a laptop, just to do VO or anything, M2 is going to be supported a really long time. It's significantly better than the M1. And it is gonna perform pretty well because 16 gigs of RAM is really like the minimum that you should be looking for in any kind of computer at this point. That being said, I also found that the new Mac Mini, the desktop
I
one,
can't wait. Yeah.
$550 on Amazon right now with an M4 processor, 16 gigs of RAM.
I'm so excited about that.
I am like, hey, I was thinking about getting a laptop, but that is really, really tempting. If you don't need to take it anywhere and you want a decent machine that's going to last you forever, that is definitely a way to go.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, Mike. Mac Mini desktop computer, M4 chip, 10-core CPU, 10-core GPU, built for Apple Intelligence, 16 gigabyte unified memory, 256 gigabyte SSD storage, internet, and all that fun stuff. $574. I mean,
and what we found out is that there's a potential that you'll be able to increase the storage.
I was going to ask you that, Mike.
It's not readily set up that way yet, but it is removable. They've broken it apart, and it's not like it's soldered on. So there's eventually going to be a way to do that.
But there's always external hard drives too.
Yeah,
right, Mike?
you can do good Thunderbolt external hard drives. You're going to be fine with that anyway.
Right.
As an aside, tons of deals on Sweetwater right now, specifically on like Lewitt microphones. If you're looking at like a 440 Pure, you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money.
I used to use that. Okay.
I think you can get one for like $199 right now, and it comes with Isotope RX Elements,
Nice.
just thrown in, which is usually $50. So if you're looking to get a slightly better microphone than your starter microphone, you've been interested in all that declick and mouth noise stuff, RX Elements is a great way to walk into that. And I did see some other ones on some Neumann things, but they're a little bit more expensive.
I had the Lewitt before my Sennheiser, so that's a really solid mic, y'all. It's a really solid mic.
All right, cool.
stuff,
Hey, listen,
Mike.
we have our guest, which we want to get to. Dan, I apologize for running a bit later than expected, but, Terry bringing up a damn shaker is his favorite thing. Definitely explains why his wife picks him up every other weekend. Shake Wake, yeah. I'll get you Shake Wake next year for your birthday. How's that?
I used to be a bartender. I get it.
There you go. See?
All right. Terry, before we hear from our good friend Dan, why don't you give him his proper, would you?
Absolutely. With 20 years of voiceover and audio engineering, he's voiced, directed, or produced thousands of projects. Founder of Sound for VO, Dan trains both budding and pro voice actors. Dan authored Sound Advice Voiceover from an Audio Engineer's Perspective, a go-to book for VO artists, and he released Zen and the Art of Voiceover, sharing insights and stories from his career. His voice has brought brands like Heinz, BMW, Hulu, and Hulu Plus to life. Insiders, let's welcome Dan Friedman.
Dan, thank you so much for joining us. I didn't realize that you were still displaced. Not displaced, but still, without power or water or things like that from the hurricane that happened. That was a good month ago, right?
So it was
6
the
weeks,
last
you
week of September, so the 27th, I believe, was the actual date.
That's crazy.
So we actually have our utilities and whatnot back. The only thing that we don't have is drinking water. We have water running, but nobody really can drink it right now because it's just the turbidity levels are too high from everything getting stirred up, and they're having to basically rebuild some of the treatment plants.
Cool. Hey, Terry, do me a favor. Mute your microphone because when you cough, it just echoes.
Sounds
through.
hideous.
Yeah, it really does.
It's the essence of Briscoe.
I'm trying, y'all. They need a little bit more estrogen on this show, I swear.
We're
trying.
working on it. We're working on it. We have you, and now we have Mike, so we're getting there.
Hey. All right, sorry.
So, Dan, you're not just a VO guy, like Terry said. You're not just an engineer. You're an author as well. And
That's right.
And you do a lot of these talks and things. We're going to get to your book in a moment because I think people really need to get this in their library. But if you ever have a chance to actually sit and talk with Dan or do a session with him, highly recommend it. Terry and I sat for lunch in Costa Rica. And we had lunch with Dan. And, man, I tell you, what a fun time that was. It really was. Very knowledgeable. The proximity, the distance between you talking to people is the gummies are kicking in. I'm sorry. That one I've taken to heart with when it comes to giving 2 and 3 takes. So I do thank you for that. If you guys have any questions for Dan, please put them in our chat.
Feel free.
If you can put a Q in front of it or the word question, it just makes it easier for me to look at because I've got a lot of dials and microphones and things that are in the way. So,
I'm
yeah,
seeing
so
a
if
lot
you
of
could do that.
familiar names. I like that. And
Yeah.
coming across the chat, a lot of new friends, a lot of new
Nice.
people who've reached out, and I really appreciate that, by the way.
Oh, that's right. You were part of the book club. It says here with Julie.
That's right. I was part of the book club a few months ago. God, maybe it was a year ago or earlier in the year. I can't even remember because everything's a haze as of late. But yes, it was super fun to be a part of that, and I think we were supposed to do it again, even at some point. But who knows? And like I said, everything's been a haze the last 6 weeks, so we're just trying to catch back up here.
So it's Zen and the Art of Voiceover.
Yeah, Zen and the Art of Voiceover.
Can you give me the cliff notes?
Sure.
Is that
It's
too old of
really-
a reference for some people?
No.
Not
Well,
for you, Dan. I mean,
No,
Nothing
definitely
personal.
Not for me. No. Okay, let's be real here. I'm probably the oldest in the room, but nonetheless. Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance is a very popular book that was very popular way back when, and well, this book isn't really designed to be anything like that. It is about how you apply elements of your regular life into your voiceover work. And I go through some personal stories that help illustrate those situations, hopefully, provided I was effective in the telling of the stories. But yeah, so that's really what it is, right? Because you have to bring the emotions that you experience in your life into your acting, but not the actual experience you're having in your life presently into your acting, right? You got to let yourself go and bring those experiences that you've learned over the course of life and what that
you have to be able to
feels like.
control it. Be in control of it as opposed to it happening right there.
Well, and not just being in control of it, but for most voice actors, especially if you're just starting out, that also means being able to get to that place to even begin with.
Period.
Because
That's right.
a lot of people don't even recognize what their emotions are supposed to sound like or what their emotions do sound like in reality. So one of the things that I like to impress upon people is for them to really recognize when you're in a strong emotional state of any kind, whatever it is, whether that be frightened, angry, joyful, whatever that might be, recognize what you sound like in that situation so that when your scripts call for that level of authenticity, you recognize how that's true to you. Because nobody wants you to be somebody else. They want you to be your authentic self. And we've been saying this forever.
Ever.
People say, "Oh, that conversational read, that's kind of this trend that's happening." Yeah, that trend's been happening
last-
for 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay, I do have a question here for you from Stephanie
Yeah.
Johnson. Would like to know what or who was your inspiration for the book?
That's a good question. This
Stephanie
book in
always has
particular,
great questions.
I know Stephanie. I've seen Stephanie before. We met at
Jason.
MAVO one time recently. So the inspiration for this book was my kids, really. I wanted to have something that was not the first book, that was not technical, but that I could go ahead and continue the legacy that I kind of want to build here in my training and in what how I'm trying to share the love and the help that I believe I can offer to people. So really that was the inspiration, is to get what I teach down on paper and combine it with some of the things that I have written about over the years that were still of value. So a lot of the book are portions of blogs that I've written that are on my website even.
Okay, now you also have a different book here as well, right?
So sound advice.
Let me go back to our other screen for a moment here. Sound Advice is here somewhere.
Yeah, so Sound Advice was my first book, and that was published in 2010. In
Here we go.
2000, there you go. In 2022, it was voted by Backstage Magazine as one of the top 9 most important books in voiceover. So
Nice,
after
nice.
after 10 years and being a
Right.
tech book, that's a pretty, I think that's pretty special to me that is recognized that way, because it stood the test of time. Even though it's a tech book, the information in there is really, I always hoped that it would be something that could carry on, and because it's fundamentals, it's things that everybody that is interested in this should get to know.
Yeah. Well done. Very well done. That's cool.
Now, did
Thank
I
you.
see just recently that you took one of these books and made it an audiobook?
That's correct. So Zen and the Art of Voiceover is an audiobook, so you can hear that I actually do this too. I've done I've done audiobooks in the past. But I don't. But it's not my favorite thing to do. So I've only done a few. And at one point I did say I've done 5 audiobooks because I'll never do 6. But then, you got to do your own book, I think. So
It has a way of
And-
roping you back in.
yeah, that's true. And the audiobook actually is even slightly updated, believe it or not, from the print version. So there's a few things that I even tweaked in there and took some liberties to improve upon, if you will. Not major changes, but just a few little tweaky things.
Good to know.
Cool.
Good to know.
If you guys have a question, we have Dan Friedman with us, whether it's a coaching question or an engineer.
Audio tech? Yeah.
Audio tech. Yeah, I mean, that's a big subject, man. I just picked up the, I'm going to toss it up here for a minute, the LX Sphere microphone.
Ah.
Yeah. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Best
right now.
microphone ever.
Is it? You like it? Is that you, God? Yeah.
No, it's terrible.
is.
It's not God.
God is telling you, get the microphone.
So if you guys
That's
have
the
any,
one. Sorry.
Okay.
I was gonna say that's the one that emulates like I don't know how many mics, but that's the one that emulates all these different mics.
It comes
on
with
the
like
market.
30 and you
Yes.
can get like another 180. Right now, I am talking to you with a combination of a U87 Classic and a 416 combined. I'm not sure what it really does.
That's
but
the
Say it
sweet spot.
again.
Yeah.
That or the
The,
Sony 800.
One of the reasons that I didn't think about writing another tech book or expanding even sound advice is simply because for this reason, the tech stuff is becoming so much easier in that the electronic side of it is really starting to, for instance, allow you to eliminate the sound of the room,
Yeah.
which was always the biggest factor other than you and your performance itself. So I guess the equivalent would be going from print photography to digital photography. Right? I mean, it's kind of the same thing that we did when we went from tape to digital recording. And now you can Photoshop everything, and the mixing of it in the sound side of it is also becoming like you can Photoshop it. You've got enough. People are able, like you mentioned, the isotope stuff, right? You can take out all those clicks and whatnot. In the early days, and I do that by manually. I don't trust those. I don't trust those things to do it without my ear is my most valuable tool, and it's really everybody's most valuable tools, right?
Absolutely.
You have 2 of these and 1 of these to remind you to use your ears twice as much.
All right, we have a question here for you from, let's see, can we go to these?
Is that Raisin?
From Mr. DF Raisin wants to
Yeah.
know
What's your
go-to
go-to
mic?
mic for VO and
Sure,
mic
well-
for music vocals?
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, all of these situations are dependent on the circumstances. I use the 416, and I've used the 416 for years, and it just makes the most sense for my environment. And I think it sounds really good on me. I've done a number of different microphone tests over the years, and this is just the winner usually. I have 40 microphones in my collection, actually. So there, I go back to live sound. When I started in this, I started in live sound doing bands. So I have mics for drums. I have large diaphragm condensers. I have small diaphragm condensers. I have dynamics. I have a ribbon microphone, like just a bunch of stuff. And I've also started to learn to play guitar over the last several years and try and write some music, which is something that I didn't really know how to do when I first started in recording. So I've made it my goal to learn how to play some stuff and start recording and get to experiment a little bit more with some of those microphones. I get to bust them out again.
Oh, cool.
What's up? The second part of that
posted that
question was
online
what's your go-to mic for vocals? Does that
Sure, and those I usually will mix things up. I have a couple large diaphragm condensers. I have a U47 clone microphone that was custom made for me, so I use that one a lot. I have an MXL V69 tube microphone that has this real dark, smoky sound to it. It's really silky and it's really nice. I like that one.
nice?
As far as dynamics go, I have a Shure. I of course have Shures, 58s, 57s. I have some old AKG. I think is it 3000s or 3500s. They're great live vocal mics. Of course, Sennheiser. My favorite Sennheiser mic that isn't my 416 right now is the MK4 large diaphragm condenser. I recommend that to a lot of voice actors, and I have yet to have somebody who didn't sound great on it.
And that's what's up.
Question for Rebecca, and I may be over the line here, but do you prefer a large diaphragm or a small one?
Baby, you know, they say it ain't about the size of the mic, but it is. It always is.
Hey,
I don't know. You can't hear it, but I'm shaking my head.
we can see it now, Mike. Mike actually has a question for you, Dan. Mike?
Yeah. So, Dan, speaking of tech stuff, and we have some folks that are fairly new in here that are maybe getting into it. What are your recommendations in terms of equipment or things to get? Things
Starter.
to kind of quickly put it together as a starter pack for yourself, or tips that you have for people's home environment to kind of produce a quality audio for submissions.
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing to recognize is that it's always you are the first most important thing in the chain. And then the second most important thing in the chain is not the sexy thing, but it's the environment that you are surrounded by. So a microphone is always picking up two things: you, or whatever the source sound is, in this case, you and your voice, and the environment in which that exists. So we have to know that we have to be in an environment that's quiet, that is not reflective. In other words, you're not hearing a whole lot of reverb, or what we call, reverb is basically short echoes that happen real fast, essentially. So you don't want all that bouncing around. And the easiest thing to do to hear the difference is to go into a bathroom that has tile floors and mirrors and, sing in there and hear how it resonates and rings out longer versus then immediately go into a closet and do the same thing and hear how that sound dissipates and it doesn't ring out. And a lot of people need to recognize that they're not aware that the different environments make a big difference. Unfortunately,
Some groups have actually recorded songs in bathrooms because of the ambiance and the echo that they get from that room.
Yeah, and why do you think you sound good when you sing in the shower? Because of the extra reverb.
Yeah, makes me think of the Halo theme song.
Halo.
Makes me think of your song.
Yeah.
Terry, you had a question that you wanted to ask Dan as well.
Yeah, I wanted to know what is the most common mistake that people make when they're making their recording space.
The most common mistake they make? Well, they're overlooking it to begin with. But I would say one of the most, what people are not often thinking about in the beginning is the ergonomics of the space. So, in other words, the sound is important for sure, and that should be the primary focus. However, that being said, make sure that you're comfortable in the space. Make sure that you can operate and function easily without causing yourself any unnecessary stress. Like, it's very hard to read a script off of a phone and perform it well. It's very hard if you have to squint to see your screen. It's very hard if you have to lean into your microphone or you have to sit on the floor or whatever it is, right? I mean, how can you perform comfortably and express yourself authentically if your body and your situation is not one that you can operate in comfortably?
Especially if you're spending hours in
true.
there.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly
Yeah.
right.
I ran into that because when I originally built my booth, I built it just wide enough for me to kind of be in here. And after a little while, I'm like, and it was fine, but until it wasn't. And then
Until it
so I had to
wasn't.
build a whole extension, you know what I mean? But yeah, absolutely. Making sure you have enough room to move around. You want to do efforts, and you can't do this because you're punching the side of the walls, you know.
Remember that time we had to lube you up just to get you out?
I mean, which
Don't you
time?
hate when that happens?
Which time?
The one that I have on tape.
What's
Yeah.
wrong with you?
If you guys have any questions for Dan, please put them in the
hilarious.
comments for us. Put a Q next to him. Dan, if you're just joining us, Dan Friedman from Sound for VO has a couple of books out, Zen and the Art of Voiceover, and Sound Advice as well. Dan, let's talk about, since we talked about VO Atlanta, and since we talked about Mike winning a pass to VO Atlanta, he won that pass doing your challenge. Can you speak about your challenge? So you guys are going to Atlanta. You need to sign up for this additionally, not just your ticket doesn't get you in. You have to be looking to be signed up for it. And by the way, I am back next year. I know what it's going to take to win.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Okay.
Extra gummies.
Well,
so
for
Dan,
you or for me?
I was going to say, what flavor do you like, buddy? Indica, sativa? What are you doing?
I'm not a judge. I'm not a judge.
Fair enough. So tell us about the whole project that you have going on down there.
Yeah.
So I've been doing the team challenge for a number of years. We started this team challenge, I want to say back around 2014, 2015. I'm not sure I remember which year we actually did it the first time, but I've been to every VO Atlanta as a speaker or presenter or staff member even, or running the team challenge. So the first year it was Roy Yokelson, Cliff Zellman, Joe Lesh, and myself, and there was one, and Abby out in Australia. The five of us were the heads of the team challenge, and my team won. So after that, we went ahead and I, tried to defend my championship the following year. Didn't win, but since then I've taken it over as the manager of it. So I manage the team challenge and run the whole thing and get the charities lined up and all of that good stuff. And it's
Can you give us
super fun.
Can you give us the Reader's Digest version of exactly what the contest is?
Yes. Okay. So I've explained that part. That would help, wouldn't it?
Hey, it's a great contest. We'll see you there. Bye.
It was your talk of the gummies. Okay. So it is, people meet for the first time oftentimes. We don't know. It's random teams selected from people who register for VO Atlanta and would like to participate in the team challenge. The teams are randomly put together, and you meet these people for the first time, and you have roughly 24 hours from the time that you get the go to produce generally a 30 or 60 second spot, fully produced, voice edited, ready for broadcast.
And
you have
at
24
least three
hours
people
to do
have
it.
to be in it. That's part of your group. At least 3 people, I believe, have to
I
be
thought
part of the
everybody did.
voices.
It depends. If we do 60 seconds, then usually we want everybody to have a voicing part. But if it's 30 seconds, then we'll usually make it a little bit smaller, so that maybe half the group has to have a voicing part. But everybody has to participate. The important part about the team challenge, besides the charity aspect, is that you get to see this come to fruition from beginning to end.
Yeah,
so especially
cool.
if you're new to the process and you've never seen or thought about, oh, my voice is going to have music with it. Well, what kind of music is that going to be? Well, that music might be based on obviously it's going to be based on the tone of the spot, but we haven't written the spot yet, right? So now you got to write and then everybody. So you really get to see that whole process from beginning to end, and then on top of that, you get to. I will say this is usually the thing that people love the most is the camaraderie. They have come away, these teams come away, and they come to me even years later that they are still friends.
Still friends,
They still talk. They are so glad that they participated. And it's just been so rewarding that I don't know that I can give it up anytime soon. I want to keep, I really like doing the team challenge for everybody.
And let's talk about one of the really cool aspects about it is that the winning spot gets played in Atlanta on the radio for the charity throughout the year, correct?
Yeah, it always depends on the situation.
Gotcha.
But yes, oftentimes that has exactly been the case. I know Lifeline Animal Project, for instance, has used theirs. Cool. They get so whatever free radio time. Often it's like really late at night that when they can
PSAs.
fill a little bit of space with PSAs and public nonprofits, that sort of thing. So yes, they actually do air from time to time. Not all of them have, but some of them have.
Gotcha. We got a few questions that came up in the comments I want to get to. Rebecca.
Let's do it. All right. Do you use a preamp for VO? I currently have an art voice channel, but looking to upgrade for music and VO without breaking the bank. Any suggestions?
Yeah, so I use the Universal Audio.
All day.
I actually I have a number of plugins, but funny enough, I just did a test with somebody the other day, and they had a number of the very high-end plugins, and on this particular person, in their situation, I like the Universal Audio preamp just straight out best. So it's as good as anything. I mean, Universal Audio is a very well-respected company. They make really good quality stuff, and that's what I've been using. And they have a low-cost line of equipment now, the Volt series.
The solos?
The
Oh.
Volt, that just came out.
The Volt series that you can, that's very affordable. So definitely recommend that for anybody just starting out. You can't go wrong.
That's awesome.
All right. Big B has a question. Is there any known problems with the AT2035 where other condensers would be better? Wondering if it's just me or should he switch to a shotgun? His booth is not soundproof. I don't think anybody's is for the most part, but it's just treated.
Mine sure isn't.
Mine isn't either, but it's treated.
Everybody's situation is different. I can't just say, I can't say out of hand, that's not working for you, or that is working for you, right? It's not fair to say that, and it's not appropriate because you really have to make the comparisons. I would want to be able to hear what your current sound is and then determine, okay, is this competitive? Because what really matters is, are you competitive with everybody else that's also submitting for auditions? And oftentimes, well, gosh, these days, and I've been in this a long time, the biggest limitation that people have in this business, especially if you've started after COVID, is that you've rarely or maybe never seen anybody else work from their booth.
Exactly.
You may not even have heard anybody else from their booth, which is why when I do workout groups, when anybody does workout groups, I definitely encourage people to attend those, get a sense of what people are doing out there and how they're doing it. Because when I started, we'd have a lobby full of people that were coming in to work, and they were coming in. We had four on a good day. We'd have all four voice booths going at the same time. So there was always opportunity to hear other people do their thing and learn from them. And that is what is missing now. And that is why coaching is just so unbelievably important, because you can't know you don't know what you don't know. So between coaching and doing workshops and listening, which I emphasize so much, those are the things that you really have to invest your time and effort in. This is a job that needs to be experienced in order to be done well. It just does. You don't You don't just walk up to a canvas and start painting like Michelangelo.
I did. I don't know what you're talking about. First of
Just
all, I
because you
did.
have a '69 Fender Stratocaster doesn't mean you play like Jimi Hendrix.
I mean, let me tell you, I've got more guitars than I deserve because I barely know how to play them, but I'm working on it.
I want to interject and throw one in there, if I may, actually, and get away a break from the tech talk because my eyes are starting to cross. But what genre are you rocking in right now? Like, what is your thing as a voice actor? What is your thing right now, and has it changed? Have there been any shifts recently in what you're booking?
So
More
my consistent thing is radio imaging.
Okay.
And, that's what I enjoy doing a lot. So that's the best part is I actually do a station down in Greenville, which is right down the mountain from me. So every once in a while, I get to hear myself in the wild.
Okay, that's dope.
very cool.
And has that changed, or has that been a long-term kind of coast for you?
So radio imaging, I started doing that really, like getting into it more serious about it right before COVID happened.
Okay.
So that's been something that I was pursuing, and I've been the voice of a number of different stations.
Very cool.
Missoula, Montana, some big valley somewhere. I'm not sure which
Missoula,
valley. 'Cause
classic
there's a lot
rock.
of valleys. Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
And some
I've been to
alt-rock
Missoula. It's very Dan Friedman, by the way. Missoula is your town. Trust me.
Perfect.
You think
Julie
so?
had a question that I think we really need to get to.
Sure.
More guitars than mics?
No, I don't have more guitars than Mike.
Terry, you had a question. What do you got going on, buddy? You had a question about imposter syndrome because we know how much you.
Yeah, I wanted to know if you could
are stuck with that. Was that a Terry impersonation? That was good.
Oh, wow.
I mean, thank you. That was really good. Yeah, I wanted you to speak on imposter syndrome, and I wanted to know if there are any techniques that you could pass along that will help you overcome it.
Sure, confidence, right? The bottom line is this goes back to coaching, and I'm not trying to be a billboard for my coaching or anything like that, but it really does, because what happens is the only way to overcome imposter syndrome is to build confidence, to know that what you're doing works and is working. And in this job, when you get so much rejection, that's very difficult, right? So that's why when you're getting coaching and you're getting somebody to really teach you how to do this, because that's my job, really, isn't just to direct you and to say, make it sound like this. That's not my job. I consider my job to actually teach you how to do voiceover, so that when we learn how to do it first and learn why we're doing the things that we're doing, then I can, and you've got that, grasp that, then I can coach you. And when you get comfortable hearing yourself and hearing yourself make those transformations, and it is transformative. I can help somebody really transform a read into something that is uninspired, if you will, to something that really connects. And that's what we're trying to do, is get that emotional connection. So when you start to feel that over and over again, and you recognize that in your body, that, oh, this is what it feels like when I'm rocking this, when I'm doing it well.
Nice.
And you know that feeling. You know, everybody here knows the feeling of when they've delivered the read in such a way that it made the hair on your arms rise a little bit.
It's like
You wanted to do the mic drop.
It's like
You wanted to drop the mic,
radio.
but they cost too much.
That's right.
much.
It's what we're looking for, right? It's that feeling that we're chasing every time. And when you listen when you listen back and you hear it and you go, wow, that was my voice and it made me feel something. Because it's already a challenge listening to your own voice. But if you listen back and it makes you feel something, that's what I am looking for everybody to recognize and then learn how to make that happen for themselves.
On a regular basis.
So
Because
Part-
yeah,
if you
'cause
look
I
into-
can't be around for all of them.
Yeah.
If you're looking to
So-
book with Dan, hold on, Mike, 1 second, please. If you're looking to book with Dan, I'm going to put the QR code pretty big up here right now. Let's just cover it.
Let me see if that works. Right, let's
There you
just
go.
cover up. Let's just.
There you go.
But not me,
So-
though.
There we
so
go.
Scan that, or maybe go to the website. What's the website, Dan, if they want to book with you?
Sure, sound4vo.com, and go to the coaching page, and there's a number of different options there.
And it's the number
So-
4, just like it says in
Correct.
the. Okay, Mike, you had a question?
Well, I was just going to vouch for what Dan was saying, because part of the prize package of stuff that we won for winning the team challenge was being able to coach with Dan for a number of sessions, and it's legit. I came out of that with a better grasp of how to kind of emotionally connect with stuff, and it's just even as a refresher for stuff that I had done in the past. So I just wanted to, yes, Dan's not lying to you. He actually does have a pretty good plan
He
to
knows his
help you
shit.
kind of move that way. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, because we all trust Mike Cunningham. He's never lied to any of us. No,
I am
Dan-
not a
Dan,
liar.
absolutely right. Stop it. Dan, not only coaching, but do you also offer, no pun intended, sound advice?
Totally, of course. So, not just even for auditions and that sort of thing, but yeah, definitely people can send me audio files and I'll listen to them and I'll tell them what I think. And I do this even through a number of different places. So there's many ways to get a hold of me.
Cool.
And
All right,
I like doing that stuff. And the best part is I learn more that way too. Because if you're using something that I've never heard before, I want to get a sense of, I want to put that into my memory bank. The reason that I like certain things or don't like certain things is because I've tried them or I've heard them. And the things that I haven't, I won't speak on because that's not fair to do.
That's not what you're doing, yeah.
Every time I help somebody build a website, I learn something new. And
Yeah.
it goes in the database, and somewhere, somehow, it gets asked or it gets brought up again, and I know the answer for it, or a new technique that I can try out for people and pretend that I know what I'm talking about. Rebecca, Pat has a question.
nose
We've
breathing.
got a few more, yeah.
Nose breathing,
Let's see,
yeah.
I think we might have-
Right. We'll talk about nose breathing after this because that's
Okay.
something I think people need to talk about. Thank you for bringing that up. Rebecca,
All right, let's go. Let's see. I have a small area in which I record. How important is a monitor in the booth? Any recommendations, please?
Well, the nice thing about having a monitor in the booth is that you're able to, they're flat now. They're not like the big TV screens that we used to use that were, 2 feet deep. So they don't make any noise. So it is hangable on a wall, something like that. I think it's just convenient, right? Because that way, if a lot of people, and even my first setup, my booth was like back there and the computer was up here, and I was trying to navigate how I wanted to set it all up, but ultimately I really wanted to be in one space, so because it's just so convenient to not have to move around. Now that doesn't mean I want to do editing from my booth, but certainly if I'm in a booth, I want to be able to see my levels. Ideally, I want to make sure that, how many times have we not actually recorded something when we meant to, right? It happens. It happens. So that having a monitor in the booth, I think, is one of those. It's kind of one of those things I was talking about earlier. It's like an ergonomic thing that you want to use to make your life easier.
there's nothing worse than having the client say, "Hey, could you play that back for me?" All right, we have a couple questions here. Terry, your boy Steve here has a question.
Yeah, sure. From Steve Ward. Since you've been in this for some time, what advice would you give your day one Dan Friedman to succeed starting now versus starting many years ago?
Good question.
Wow. Jeez.
Mind blown, dude.
I could get really existential about that, right?
Totally.
Wow. There's no clear path. There's no clear path. You just got to put one foot in front of the other and do one thing every day to advance your business, your goal, your life, whatever it is. There's no clear path. That's the advice, because people want answers and people want reasons and they want guides, and we are, especially these days, I would say, a very short-sighted and immediate gratification society. And if we can recognize that there's no clear path and that this one thing is not necessarily the end all be all, or the, you know,
Yeah.
just do the best you can every day and contribute one thing towards that goal, and it will continue to manifest. And be nice to people.
Be nice to people. All right, we have a
Be nice
couple
to people, absolutely.
more questions here I want to get
Definitely.
to
Before we get out of
end
here,
the
yeah.
show. Very quickly, what bass is that in the background? DF is a bass player. He was just curious what the bass was.
That is an Ibanez SWR. It's pretty nice, actually. I actually SDGR.
Can you play us some Smoke on the Water? Open 3-5, open 3-6-5. No.
You definitely don't want to hear me play anything right now.
All right.
Not spontaneously like that. It's you spring it on me too quick. I won't know what to do.
Let's see. DF has another question here. Do you do any coaching for sound mixing, engineering, and studio building only?
So yes, I absolutely will help people. In fact, last year at VO Atlanta, I did a class on sound mixing. It was one of my X sessions. Excuse me. So yes, absolutely, I can help people with that. And I would recommend getting the book though first. And here, so if you get the Sound Advice book, that's the book on the engineering side of things. And I will just say that, remember, this is a job that has to be experienced in order to be learned. So what I will say is that when I first got my first mixer and I was doing sound for live bands, I had my mixer and I put a microphone up to a radio because I didn't know how to play anything at the time and I didn't have another source sound, and I just started messing around with the knobs. Like, I knew what they did, but I wanted to hear how they affected things. And then I wanted to hear how my compressors affected that sound, right? So then you just start playing around with things, but you use the guide that the information provides is like, okay, we're going to start by lowering the threshold, right? Because then the steps are there for you. And then you go ahead and you start learning what this sounds like versus that and other things. And then as you get deeper into that, you can then learn more about, well, this compressor sounds different than this compressor, and this makes my voice sound better. And
Too many
this
options, man.
Well, and
many
you know that. Well, and that's the thing too. I want to just remind you, like, for voice, it's really keeping it as simple as possible, because the only thing we really want you to do, especially in the engineering side of things, is to sound like you, the best version of you that you can sound like. That's what we want. The most accurate and truthful and best version of you. And that doesn't mean that it's highly processed. It means that it is true to who you are, and to give us as engineers and mixers all the options available to us. So, because if you start adding all this stuff and suddenly that what you added, we can't take it away, and it doesn't work in the final production, that's a problem, right? If I need to have a couple doing a dialogue, a husband and wife, and the husband actor is in Arizona and the wife actor is in New Jersey, we already know that just the fact that they're in two different locations makes it hard, right? So ideally, if they can have similar equipment, that helps, even if they both have whisper rooms.
Different equipment. It's crazy. I agree.
Right, exactly. The variations are endless, and the one thing I will say that I've heard J. Michael Collins say this many times, and it's definitely probably the truest statement in all of voiceover, is that whenever you ask a question in voiceover, the answer is always, well, it depends. Because it really does. It really does depend on so many different factors.
Now, I equate all the options that you have for engineering and audio and microphones and trying to find that right sound. I picture walking into a New Jersey diner, and getting one of those menus with like 23 pages of menus, like meals to choose from. It takes forever just to read through when all you really want is a BLT because it's simple and it tastes good.
Right, and that's truthfully what we basically want for our voices most often, unless you're doing the type of production that requires that if you're doing film, audio, and you're doing those kind of mixing, I mean, basically that's the stuff, or even if you're making demos, right, you need that kind of stuff. I don't use the same compressor on a voice if I'm making a demo for the same voice. Like I probably will use a different compressor for one spot versus another just because I'm going for a different flavor, a different tone. And those are things that are very nuanced that you don't have to be responsible for as a voice actor.
All right, Dan, we are actually over time. Thank you for spending time with us. If you guys
my pleasure.
If you didn't see the whole thing, check it out on our YouTube page. Before we go, though, we like to have a 10-question speed round. So basically, it's 2 or 3 word answers. So
I love these.
All right. So
What could possibly go wrong?
we're going to do 5 each. Rebecca's going to start, and then we'll go back and forth. So Rebecca,
go back
you go
and
first.
forth?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Analog or digital?
Both.
How long does it take you to get ready in the morning?
Not long.
Are ghosts real?
Probably.
Scale of 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
10.
Roll-on, aerosol, or soft solid?
Soft solid.
Fill in the blank. Taylor Swift is
Blonde.
That was safe. That was
Well
safe.
done.
well.
All right, well done, well
ahead.
done. Early morning sessions or late night sessions?
Gosh, when I was younger, it would have been late night, but now I think early morning.
Is invisibility or super strength?
Noise.
Oh, invisibility.
Rebecca.
Do I have one more or am I
Yeah,
okay?
one
It's on
more,
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, live direction or self-directed?
Live direction.
Okay.
Last but not least, one for our non-meat eating friends out there. Is it wrong for a vegetarian to eat animal crackers?
Not at all.
Not at all. Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Mr. Dan Friedman. We appreciate having you here. If you want to get hooked up with Dan, either for sound, coaching, books, maybe he'll come by and cook you dinner. Who knows? Go to
I'm good at that.
soundforvo.com.
I'm a good cook.
And if you need someone to drive you someplace, he's a wicked good driver. He's 10 out of 10, so. Dan, thanks a lot, man. We really appreciate you.
Thank
If you
you,
wanna hang out in
Dan.
the green room till we wrap up, we'll talk
My
afterwards. If
pleasure.
not, go off and do your thing, and we'll catch up. Appreciate it, buddy.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, let's
Thanks,
get the other
Dan.
guys up here and say goodbye. Thank you so much, guys, for being a part of the Microphone Insider. What do you want, a parade?
Yes.
We do have a show coming
Pageant.
up. We might have a show next Thursday.
Maybe.
Might do a pop-up show with Bridget and Lynn from voice actors for VO.
Bays.
Yeah, so
And we still
be.
won't outnumber y'all. I need to find somebody else to pull with them.
I've been trying to help you out. I mean, show up next week. You'll be here. That's all. All right, before we go, I want to pull this screen up here. Next show we have, if we don't do Bridget, 12/12, Jason Beard will be joining us.
Yeah.
Who the hell is Jason
Jason's
Beard?
awesome.
Jason
Jason's
is
super awesome.
Jason's awesome.
a brilliant, talented, genius, scares the freaking bejesus out of me writer. He is the founder, producer, writer of the Leo Braun podcast that all of us, except for Rebecca, are part of. He's also writing. We're gonna get you in, baby. We're also writing. He's also writing that Topaz and Stillman thing that we talked about with Terry and myself, which Rebecca is going to be playing I'm just going to say a real evil character. It's going to be right up her alley. So. All right, guys, be sure to go to our website, themicrophoneinsider.com. I want to thank everybody so far that has bought tickets. I have seen them come in on my phone with the alerts. You guys are buying tickets for the event we're having with Johnny Heller and Joanna Perrin. It's to benefit a voice actor, audiobook person who has lost his house due to wildfire. So a little baby too, and his grandma lives there. It's crazy. $25 or more. Donate what you can. Come check out the class or not. Check out the video later. And you have anything, Rebecca? We good?
Nope. I was just commenting in the chat there.
Mike? Y'all good, Mike?
I'm great, baby.
Terry?
Be more like Jim.
All right, one more time.
If Terry can cook it, you can too. His friends and his reason to bring food to you.